Hey everybody, this is Gideon here with Manna Entertainment with our second video in the series, How to Create Your Own Game Studio. Now this one is going to be a little bit of a prequel. Hopefully it won't be anything like this.
Stay down!
How rude!
He got! What the Misa saying?
Either choice presents great danger to us all.
We are brave, Your Highness. Mitasa Chupa, Lolova Numatafa.
And maybe a little bit more like this.
Is your foot alright?
So sit back, relax, and after the intro, we'll get deep into it. So before you start your own game studio, one of the most important things you can do is when you're trying to make a video game or when you're trying to get other people to help you make a video game, the most important thing you can do is create a GDD, a game design document. Now, there is no de facto correct way to make a GDD because usually in real life, a GDD is an evolving document. Mine started off with about 3 or 4 pages. It ended up with 15 or 16 pages. But the first game that we're designing, which is Space Exodus, is not the most complex game. Turns out, according to some of the programmers I've worked with, it's harder to program than it is in concept or in theory, right? So, what did I do? I created the game design, came up in my mind with all the ideas that I want. Now, I'm just going to say an FYI. For the longest time, I tried to avoid computer programming. I wanted nothing to do with it. In fact, to this day, I still don't like it. But anyway, I'm forcing myself now to take, I talked about that in our first video, but I'm going to learn C++ and how to, prototype games basically for Unreal and hopefully get a little bit better and then, make some stuff with C# and Unity. So I have 2 courses in Udemy. I'll go ahead and put the link in the bottom for you guys. Now, what I would like to show is how I went about creating the game. So the very first thing you want to do when you're not a programmer, in my case, I'm probably the most handicapped you can be in starting a game studio because all I have is creativity. I'm able to write. I was a writer before this. I'm able to get with a group of people and tell them what I need and communicate. So communication is very important in game design. But let's say you are something that's way better than in my shoes, right? So I have friends that have started their own games. Some of them are artists. Some of them are programmers. Now, ideally, as much as I hate programming, it's something that you just need. You need to be able to at least, if you want to be able to modify your games, to balance it, to test it. Right now, our current build of Space Exodus is really broken. On the first stage of the 3rd level, I, the creator of the game, have trouble beating it. And I'm actually, it's been very slow. I've been very backed up. But as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to go back and modify that because now I know at least how to read enough code that I can kind of manipulate things once my programmers tell me where it's at. So ideally, you want to be able to create a prototype of whatever your game is, right? But you got to have an idea first. You got to have a plan. So my plan was I wanted to do something like this screenshot that I'm showing you here, which was an idea of the concept of my game. So I like games like Geometry Wars and Super Stardust HD, and I always thought this game would be kind of perfect for a mobile device. And, and then games like Candy Crush that I have listed there, obviously those games are very successful. So what I did was I wanted to kind of make a mobile game that felt more like a console or arcade game, and I figured one of the coolest things that I thought was possible is making a game where the actual design of it is so that a noob or basically somebody with no experience can play it and enjoy it, but people with, skills, gamers, actually hardcore gamers, can get in there and, go for a lot of score attacks and, go for the leaderboards and stuff like that. None of that is implemented in the beta, just to be clear. But yeah, so after I did that, the next thing I did was I like to create worlds by drawing, right? So I'll draw concepts or I'll come up with ideas, and usually with that idea, I'll start to elaborate from there. So I'll draw the concept. If I need inspiration for something, which in this case I did, because the game is called Space Exodus, right? So I didn't want to be like, super religious, like in the game itself, or like trying to like, promote, like I myself, I'm religious to a point. I'm not extreme, I'm not hardcore. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything, but I have my faith and I have my belief. And, I wanted to make something that the Bible has a lot of cool stories. And I was like, you know what? Some of these stories would make cool games. So how do I adapt them in a way that can show how well written these things were, thousands of years ago, and actually, adopt it into something that could be kind of cool. So I took a lighthearted approach on the Exodus, but because it's the Exodus, aka, Egypt, and things were happening, miracles were happening in Egypt, and yada yada. So I decided that I wanted the enemies of the game to be inspired by ancient Egyptian gods, which we consider mythology. If anybody believes in the Egyptian gods, that's cool. That's up to you. I'm not telling you what to believe or not, but as far as modern culture is concerned, we consider it mythology, right? So I was like, cool, let's use some of these ancient Egypt gods and design them into spaceships. And just as a little brief intermission, I just need to say this as an asterisk. I started the game because I was taking a free course online that was not with Udemy. It was with some other just like free Unity course on how to make a basic space shooter. And I did it, and it was cool. I enjoyed it, and I didn't like the game because it was just kind of like Galaga style, where you're locked into this 2D box and you're just shooting at stuff that's coming down you on asteroids and stuff. And it looked really cool. They had cool art assets, and they had like 3D art assets, but it played like a 2D game. So I really got inspired by that, and I was like, what if we did something like this that was like Geometry Wars and like Superstar HD, but that had the same progression system and the same like the things that make games like Candy Crush, or like right now I'm playing Marvel Strike Force, I'm playing Fantasy War Tactics. These are all games that feel console-like. I wouldn't say console-like, but they feel like RPGs that I played in the past, just on a mobile device. And I know a lot of people out there are like, oh man, mobile sucks or whatever. But truth be told, one of the reasons I wanted to start off in the mobile and not immediately jump into consoles and PCs is because my dreams, my fantasies for creating games involve hundreds of millions of dollars, which I am never going to get unless I make money somehow, right? So it's extremely expensive to make a AAA product, to make a game that's as big as like a God of War, or the new Spider-Man for PS4, or Zelda Breath of the Wild, or Mario Odyssey. Like all of these games cost so much money to make, like minimum of like $50 million, because you're paying so many artists, you're paying so many programmers, you're paying music people, you're paying HR, you're paying production. Like there's so many pieces of the puzzle that go into it. Marketing, oh my goodness, marketing is so important. Guys, I'm working with somebody called Simply Advertising. They're helping us market stuff on our shop right now, and we're really hoping that goes good. If you guys go to the shop and you want to buy something off us, please give us feedback, let us know. So anyway, I want you to see here how I went from the progression of design, where I hand drew the images based off the actual inspiration. So actually first, let's show you what I was inspired by, right? So I wanted to get these Egyptian gods. So I got inspired by images like this. And then as I was, seeing that, I was like, how can I make that into a spaceship? So I made it into spaceships like this, using those images as references. And then finally I had the artist who was working with us doing the in-game ships convert it into these beauties that you see below. So once something like that is done, the next step that you want to do is, you want to have some sort of story, some sort of idea of beginning, middle, end. For mobile games, you want to be thinking about the future, right? So there's a ton of features that I had to cut out because there was simply not enough time or resources to get them in. But because it's a mobile game, those features will make it eventually, because I am super determined not to give up and to make this game a success. And that, my friends, is the most important thing. If you have to take away anything from this video, besides coming up with an idea, I'm just showing you how I did it for my game. I've done different game designs in different ways. You know, sometimes it'd be a drawing of a character, and then I build this entire world and then start writing story about, you know, all these things interacting in past, present, futures. I build worlds, you know, that's what game designers do. But if you only have like one concept or one idea that you think is cool, what you basically want to do is, number one, you want to come up with a plan, right? What is your game? What is it going to be about? What kind of style is it? How is it going to play? Number two, you want to go into the details of that plan. You want to talk about how is your game going to be perceived by others? You know, how when they play it, how are they going? What's going on through their minds? You know, like part of this, and number two is one of the most important things, is that when you design a game, you're trying to do one of two goals, right? When you design a product in general, but for games, it's the same as true. Product design has to be either something that's fun and enjoyable, that people will have either a good time in some way, shape, or form, whether they're enjoying themselves, whether they're getting pleasures of any kind, you know, food, like good health, like all these things are, you know, fun, enjoyable, but they can also be considered a problem solver. So if you create something that solves a problem, like for example, Uber or Lyft, that created a problem solving to make some money without having to worry about a boss or reporting into people or, you know, what schedule they're going to be on. They wanted a little more freedom. Lyft and Uber, they solved the problem. But in the game industry, we typically go for fun and enjoyment. We don't really make a lot of games that solve problems, asterisk, because there are games that do solve problems. There's VR for doctors that's training them how to do better surgery. You know, for pilots, for soldiers, like Bohemia Interactive, they do a lot of cool stuff with VR now, and they're training soldiers with the software that they have. So remember, number two is it has to be fun and enjoyable or solve a problem. Number three, once you have your design, your basic design in place, you want to start building. Whether that's going to be art or whether that's going to be music, it doesn't matter. Just go towards the goal. Find people. Look for people in either in your university, in your school. Look for friends. Talk to friends of friends. Network. Talk to people, because you're going to need people. Because even if you're an amazing programmer or game designer and you're making a game by yourself, like in the previous video, you know, something like a cave story or something, and you're able to do it by yourself, you can only stand to benefit from having help. Okay? Because I can never draw as well as the in-game art assets that I have. I can't program worth a lick of salt. And I love music, but I don't know how to compose music. So all three of those things were taken care of by people that I worked with, who I sold the dream, and they believed in me enough to work with us. So again, I just want to say big thank you to Carlos Franco, to Mike Bacon Jr., and you know, to Adedeji Ogundipe and Eric Mazer, who have helped me make this game into a reality. And Harold Vargas too. He's another good guy. He's on Facebook. You can check him out. But I couldn't have done it by myself, is my point. And one of the things that, you know, collaboration is just so vital. It's so important in the game industry. That's one of the things they look for when they're hiring you, is can you work with people? So if you're looking for a game job, that's a great skill to have. A great asset is you can collaborate well with others. You play well with others. And if you're not looking for a job, you can still want the collaboration, because the more people you have working on a game, the better it's going to look, sound, and most likely play, because you'll have different opinions, different feedback while creating it. Number four, once you have a product to show, once you actually have something that you want to show around, the most important thing out of everything that I've talked about now is you need to be steadfast, you need to be committed, and you need to say failure is not an option. I will not give up, and I will not lose. Because if there's anything that we've done with Manna Entertainment, this game, I designed it to, you know, I told you I was trained as a project manager, right? I designed this game to be finished in 6 months if we had a working budget and we had a schedule that I can implement for people that are being paid. But because we're a profit share, I wasn't able to do that. It's been 3 years and the game is still in beta mode. This is something that I used to feel really bad about, to tell you the truth. I used to feel like ashamed. Like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like, am I like horrible? Like, do I suck? I can't even get a game together in like 3 years. What the heck is going on? But the truth is, things don't always work according to plan. Life doesn't always go how you want it to go. And you will have obstacles. You will have challenges. there are some people who, if you watch this video, you might go take this advice and just all of a sudden make a smash hit and be the next big thing. And there are people that are lucky like that. I like to say that it's more of a fate thing. But as much as I believe in fate and luck and all that stuff, I believe that they interplay. And I know for a fact that I've seen people who've had horrible luck. You know, I mean, you read stories like this all the time. They turn their luck around. You know, look at Elon Musk. That freaking dude, like, they told him that Tesla was going nowhere. They told him that SpaceX is a failure, that it's a joke. All these famous people, politicians, you know, even Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's really cool and open-minded, was like, I don't think this SpaceX thing is going to work. It's working. He got it to work. He did not give up. Sure, he had way more money than we did, but guess what? The people that first got that money, they started somewhere. They had to start. They had to build up. They had to work and work and work. And if people told them that it was stupid and it was not going to work, they may have taken the advice and thought about it if it was something that, you know, maybe it was actually stupid and they needed to make some adjustments. But if you believe in something strong enough, if you believe in what you're doing, you will get there. But I'm just letting you know, it ain't easy. It's the hardest 3 years of work that I've ever done in my life. Just getting a group together to work on something with no money involved. Very little money. There's been very little money involved. It's mostly been spent on, you know, like licensing and getting, like, you know, equipment and stuff like that. And not even for my people. Just like things that I needed to actually be able to reach out to people in the first place. And it's not easy, man. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap up this prequel video, and I just wanted to let you guys know. I'm going to sum it up. So step 1 is have your idea concept. Step 2 is have your game design. Design your game. Think about how it's going to play. Imagine it. If you're not able to program or draw it out or communicate it visually, then have a way of communicating it verbally. Tell people, okay, when you do this, it's going to do that, X, Y, Z. After you have that, number 4 is work and work towards the end and never, never, ever give up. All right? Because so many people have success stories. And right now, you know, you look at us and we're not the biggest company in the world right now. But, you know, when our game is done, we're going to work on the next one. And that one might not take as long because I took a lot of lessons that I learned and I'm going to apply that to the next game. And not only am I going to take the lessons that I learned, but have a little bit more wisdom in how to select people. A big problem for me was selecting programmers that actually would do what they said they were going to do. A lot of them were very flaky and, you know, sorry to say, I'm not going to say their names, but I would never work with them again. I would never even, you know, have a conversation with them again because they damaged us. You know, they did things that they shouldn't have done. And in their eyes, you know, they're cool. But anyway, long story short, I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you have done so, we just want to thank you so much for supporting Manna Entertainment, for checking out this video, and for believing in us, you know. And hopefully this will pay off in the future where we will like to pay it forward. You know, we'll like to pay it back. So thank you so much. Gideon from Manna Entertainment, guys. Have a great day.